Travis Scott's Utopia is one of the most anticipated rap albums of the year. It's something that I'm really, been hyped for a long time. And we're going to be taking you guys through everything there is to know about this album so far. And for all the support you guys have been giving us so far, we really appreciate it. And if you're new here, stick around because we cover all these albums. We're going to be reviewing Utopia the same night it comes out. So if you like the video, leave us a thumbs up. And what are your thoughts on this, Matt? Because we've been talking about this for such a long time, and it looks like it's probably approaching at this point.
It is. And I mean, if you look at the amount of stuff that he's been teasing on his social media, it's absolutely crazy. But guys, let us know in the comment section what your expectations are for this, because I mean, everyone in the hip hop industry is down to get this album. Astroworld was so grand and was such a beautiful album that now people have crazy expectations for this next one. And, you hear a bunch of different things about, Travis Scott going back to his production and, a bit of the features that we could expect. But let's actually jump to August 3rd of 2020, and it was the first time he actually announced the album title, and I was taken back by it because I was like, fuck, okay, this is finally happening, but it probably won't happen this year. It'll probably happen in 2021, and obviously he took to Instagram and, posted the picture with the suit and everything. So what were your first initial thoughts when that happened?
To me, I first thought of the word utopia and what that means, and it kind of means a perfect world where everything is at harmony, everything's at peace. And I'm like, okay, so he took us through kind of his hometown experiences with Astroworld in Houston. Now he's maybe going to be showing us his life in the spotlight. You know what I mean? His life in fame, and kind of how everything might seem perfect to the audience, but is it really that utopia? Is it really that perfect? You know what I mean?
I sort of saw it as something that was not real, something that was out of this world, something that, is beyond the imagination. And I sort of saw it as, Travis Scott exploded and catapulted his career into utopia from Astroworld, and now he's in space and he's floating around, and there's all kinds of, different sounds that are going to be incorporated into it. And I kind of also see it as, I'm not comparing it to like Kanye West's MBDTF, like that's not a thing at all, but I'm saying like this is probably that album for him in his career and in his discography now, because there's probably going to be a really star-studded track list, and we're going to talk about that later in this video. But now it's a time where I feel as if Travis Scott has to take that major victory lap and he has to show off.
Yeah. So fast forward to September 25th of 2020, and we got Franchise, which featured Young Thug and MIA. Of course, that MIA feature wasn't I would say received the best by the fans. No one really liked it, but I did like that Travis was kind of switching up his sound, and it sounded more futuristic with kind of the eerie and kind of I would say mellow melody inside of the song, and then you got the synthesizers, you got that really hectic bass line, and I'm like, okay, this sounds similar to what he did on The Plan off of the Tenet movie. So maybe it's a similar vibe. Maybe that's what we could expect with Utopia, is him taking us on this futuristic sound. And that's what I always want in a Travis project, is him pushing the boundaries of trap music and just going beyond that, and kind of being one of the only true innovators that we still have in the hip-hop genre. So what did you think when you heard that song?
Wow, I was really taken away by it, because I had it was a hard listen at first because it was something completely different, but then I realized like that's what I like about it, is that it's completely different. Like it didn't sound like anything that was coming from Astroworld, but it sounded like, okay, he's really going to try for a new aesthetic here, and he's going to bring in something completely different. And that's what I like about it, is it sounds different than anything he's put out. And I do like the main focal point for me in that track is the production. Of course, MIA, like the feature was kind of wasted. Like I really don't think like that should have been there, but
it was still a hit, man. It went number 1 on Billboard, right?
No, absolutely. And like it's still a good song. I still bump it, but
might just be skipping over that verse.
Yeah, but anyways, let's fast forward to October 16th of 2020, and this is when Travis Scott gives us an actual release date, or somewhat of it.
Yeah, and we're actually going to speculate later on in the video when we think it's going to come out, and of course the features. But yeah, so he kind of penned a letter to DJs thanking them for the radio play and all that sort of stuff, and he said, "See you guys in Utopia 2021." So when you saw that, I don't think it came out as a surprise, did it?
No, it didn't. I didn't think he was going to be dropping anything towards the end of the year, just because maybe if you look at what he did with Birds was in September, if I'm not mistaken, and then Astroworld was in August, so you sort of see maybe a bit of a pattern where he drops his albums. But I don't know. I didn't expect anything in the winter, because maybe he knew the sort of great reception his albums get in the summer. And, when Astroworld got dropped, I believe it was August 4th or 3rd.
August 3rd.
August 3rd. when it got dropped on August 3rd, like that whole month, like the rest of the year, or like maybe even the next, that day till now has just been absolutely dominated by that album. And it was because everyone took that album and had it in their summer rotation. And I think that's something he's going to try and replicate here.
Even further in the summer rotation. But yeah, it's definitely, a Travis Scott album is an event. And of course, listening to in the summer for those summer nights, those fucking outings, wherever you're going, the club, house parties, it always matches the vibe, and you can't go wrong with that type of music. But let's move on to December of 2020, and this is when we got word and, confirmation that Travis Scott was working on the album in Mexico with a star-studded cast. And this is when I'm like, okay, you know what? Just like Astroworld, Travis is going to bring together a crazy cast of artists. And he's kind of like the modern Kanye West in the sense that he brings together these teams of artists and makes them all kind of collaborate in a really dynamic way and makes it all work.
Yeah, apparently there was Don Toliver there, Roddy, Ricch, Future, Wondagurl, Hit Boy, Kevin Parker from Tame Impala, Wheezy, and Snot. So
I was happy about Kevin Parker, man.
I was too, because we know what they could do together on a
Skeletons.
Track.
Wow,
absolutely
what a
crazy.
beat.
But we do know that Travis Scott's one of his biggest influences is actually Tame Impala, and how much his production is influenced by that whole sort of aesthetic. So do you think, based on like what I just read, that this album is already starting to sound like it's going to be shaping up to be maybe a future banger?
100%, man. I mean, like I just said, whenever Travis rounds up these quality artists, you know that you're in for a treat, because he's always had amazing feature lists. You know what I mean? From Rodeo to Birds to Astroworld, all of his albums have always had amazing collaborations with artists. So this was no different to me. And speaking of the features, let's move on to January 2021, where we actually got photos and videos from Eliante from the Takashi Murakami design chains, which are called the Utopia chains. And what's really interesting about these chains is that we started seeing artists wearing them. And that kind of starts up the hype and the rollout of like, okay, if you're rocking this chain, you're probably featured on the album. And that's what I kind of love, is that it's such a unique way of kind of foreshadowing the features on the album. And we saw Roddy, Ricch, and Young Thug as the first two guys to really be rocking those chains. So what do you think about the whole concept that he's introducing with these chains?
I love it. And the chains are so fucking cool. But I saw Kylie Jenner wearing a chain too. So maybe he's giving them to, everyone that's had like sort of a significant part of his life while making the album.
Maybe.
Like, who knows what the concept could be here, but it was definitely made for a reason. And we do know that this is attributed to the rollout, or else it wouldn't have been posted and it wouldn't have been advertised.
And apparently
like
there was 11 chains. Maybe that means there's 11 features. I don't quite know.
Who knows?
But
regardless, the only thing that we do know is that Travis Scott does have lengthy feature lists on his projects. So, the very good indication there. And already based on that Young Thug feature, who knows? Maybe it's going to be the franchise feature, or maybe it's something completely different.
Yeah,
so
let me ask you this. Who do you want to see featured on it besides the Roddy Ricches, besides the Young Thugs?
Don Toliver again. Don Toliver on Can't Say, like that was just such a legendary experience for me, and like listening to that for the first time, like such a great introduction. And I remember I searched him up on Instagram like right after that, and he had like 30,000 followers on IG, and it was cool to see him bring that in there. Maybe some like more like Cactus Jack members like Sofego, or like let's say Luxury Tax, just seeing what they could contribute to the track list.
Some of them were also seen rocking the chain,
I
so
would
I would definitely expect to see them. Honestly, ASAP Rocky, I need that.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
The two guys that are at the mountaintop of psychedelic hip hop, I need them to collaborate, because that's going to be straight fire.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
James Blake again, of course, because that outro on Stop Trying to Be God just gets me every time. Frank Ocean on Carousel, he did amazing.
The Weeknd is low key on almost every single Travis Scott project, so him as well. I would like to see him make a comeback. And
St. John as well. He's an artist that I could see him. St. John is
absolutely fantastic, and he's had a couple of great runs in the past couple of years, so he could be there on there as well. It's just any Travis Scott project, one of the biggest standouts of that track list is going to be those features, and easily. You probably know he won't fuck that up, and it's going to be absolute quality. But let's actually move on to February of 2021, and we have the ID magazine cover, and this is absolutely massive because we do get information on Utopia. He does say stuff like, "Listen, I'm going to be rapping on my own beats on this, and it's going to be fucking insane." So going through the whole article and like seeing like, let's say, the cover photos with it and everything, like, did it start getting you in that hype and that feel for Utopia?
Of course. And to me, the biggest piece of news that he dropped was the fact that, again, he's going to try to execute a new sound. And that's what I love about Travis, man. I'll say it again, is that he always loves experimenting. If it's bringing in, boom bap into trap, if it's meshing R&B and, these funky guitar
psychedelic hip hop into trap.
He just meshes so much. And I want to know now what's next. You know
another
what
thing
I mean?
with Travis Scott's music is like he's also said this, that he doesn't like to put himself into one genre. He doesn't think about Travis Scott as being a rapper. He thinks of himself as an artist, someone that dives into so many different sounds and makes it into one coherent project. So that's another great thing you could look forward to with this project, is like expect diversity. Expect something different than what you've gotten on anything else. Like he won't do that to you where he gives you like a copy paste of what's next, because look, his track record has been near flawless lately. His whole career, like he's never really missed on a project.
Does not have a miss. No.
He doesn't have a miss, and like the only thing he knows how to put out is quality. The only thing that's been a bit iffy, questionable as of late, is the features. It's either it misses or it's absolutely it's a slapper. But
he was good on Do-Rag Activity.
I loved him on Do-Rag Activity. I loved that flow he used. I loved also like I like that cocky Travis Scott.
We can't comment on the feature on Voice of the Heroes because by the time we're recording this, the album hasn't come out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he's definitely hit or miss in the features, but that's kind of always been the case. So I'll never judge the new album based on that.
Yeah,
feature
but
run.
it's not like Love Galore, like let's say Love Hurts or like Dark Knight Dumbo. Like there's some legendary Travis Scott features that released like prior to Astroworld. So obviously there was a dip down in that, but regardless, I'm still super excited. But let's actually get on to Astroworld Fest, because this actually sold out in a matter of, I believe it was 30 minutes,
100,000 tickets, man.
You already there, you could sort of see the demand that Travis Scott has for his music.
That's taking place in early November, so that right away to me indicates that the festival hasn't, it's been off for 2 years, because obviously in 2020 it wasn't going down because of the pandemic. So it must mean that Travis is going to drop Utopia before November. That's a given to me at this point. And just imagine experiencing that new album where he does something completely different on a live stage on Astroworld Fest. I mean, it indicates to me that there's no doubt that he will be dropping before that. And speaking about the actual release date, he's also supposed to be headlining at Rolling Loud Miami.
Yep, July 23rd.
So honestly, I think that he's dropping before that.
I do think so too. Like, why would he headline Rolling Loud if he's not going to be dropping anything?
Exactly.
It's kind of a similar situation with A$AP Rocky as well. Headlining so many festivals that like you have to drop because it's such a big important part of the rollout. So who knows? Like, we could be getting this thing in a matter of weeks, and that gets me thinking, like, what are the expectations for this? Because as far as like music goes, like I haven't been listening to many snippets or many leaks. Like, I've been really religious on that. Like, I really want to know what's going to be on that track list, but I still keep away from it so I could get that live experience of going through that track list again. So what are your expectations for it?
I just want Travis to really not fall into the whole trap of let me go all out and kind of have the most mainstream songs and songs that I know are going to be hits. I just want him to really go back to maybe some of his old psychedelic style like you would see on Drugs You Should Try, or maybe just really push the envelope again, man, because that's what he's always known to do. What would you like to see from him?
I like to see different genres in here as well. I'd like to see some Travis Scott and some soul samples like implemented into
That'd be dope.
Seeing how that could maybe get implemented into the track list, and like that's obviously just a guess. I'd also like to see different collaborations, right? Like we mentioned, like a lot of trap artists would probably be featured on this, but we've seen him work with West Side Gun, so maybe like get Griselda features on this.
He also said he was inspired by his daughter Stormy, during the making of this album. So maybe you can expect also more introspective songs like you got on Coffee Bean, where he's talking about kind of, him being a father and that sort of stuff. That'd be dope.
I'd love
That'd be refreshing from Travis. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting for Travis to reinvent himself again and really not repeat himself sonically, because he never does that to begin with. So,
and he never does it. Then that's true. And the one thing I do want though is I don't want to see the features before I go into the album. I want that
hidden feature list.
I want the hidden feature list. I want to get that experience back again throughout a Travis Scott album, because it'll always be unmatched. Thank you guys for watching the whole video. Hit that subscribe button to join the family. We're doing weekly reviews. We're giving you guys all the updates in the industry. Plus, we have our series called What to Expect, where we actually take you through the album before it drops. Plus, if you guys want to chat with us, you guys could join our Discord server. The link is in the bio. You guys could talk hip hop with us there. Thank you guys for watching again. And guys, I'll see you on the next one.